Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready for the First Citizens National Poetry Slam, and it's not just any competition, it's the premier spoken word championship in the Caribbean. The theme for this year, well, for the Bocas Lit Fest this year in general, is Enter the Dragon's Mouth, and no doubt some fire will be spitting next coming Sunday inside the First Citizens National Poetry Grand Slam Finals. I have with me on set Mariel Forbes, who's the Youth and Hospitality Manager at the Bocas Lit Fest, and Gillian Benjamin, who's the Head of Brand and Marketing at First Citizens. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Welcome back to the show. It's another year. We're getting ready for the finals yet again.
Excitement.
Always happy to be here.
Mariel, how are we looking this year?
Better than ever. Better than last year, better than the year before.
What makes it better this year?
For one, the theme, the theme of this year's festival, we have several themes actually, but the theme of the slam specifically is Enter the Dragon's Mouth, and we feel as though, the poets have really taken this to heart. We've had the youngest poet perform.
10 years old, right?
10 years old. He got as far as the semifinals.
Nice.
So it's very exciting. These are some of the changes that we've seen, some of the positive changes we have seen
Are we
in the championship.
Are we seeing new poets? I mean, you mentioned the 10-year-old, but are we seeing new poets emerging this year rather than, I know sometimes you often see similar faces coming up every single year inside the slam.
We have a lot of new faces, a lot of first-timers. I think it's almost like 50-50, newcomers versus veterans. So it's really exciting to see that, people and young poets are continuing to write, and they're getting better and better and better to the point where very soon, I'm sure, well, you never know if one of our newbies would dethrone our defending champion.
Well, I mean, that's the whole idea, right? Everybody coming to the throne, the champion. But Gillian, tell me, as title sponsor, does that bring any warmth to your heart at all in terms of hearing the new, hearing that there are new people entering the competition and trying and getting into the finals as well?
Absolutely, because that's the whole point, right? To really provide a safe space, a platform for talent and creativity, and how the slam operates, really all are welcome. So if we have a young person at 10 that says we are doing great things, to the point I've actually heard that from inception to now, 1,200 poet auditions. That says that we've opened the forum, come as you are, whatever your age, gender, ethnicity, if you're a person with disability, come to the slam, and that means bring your talent, bring your voice.
Tell me, why is First Citizens so interested in continuing this partnership with Bocas Lit Fest and the slam?
We really are entrenched in this, because I want to talk a bit about the partnership, for instance, right? If we think about it, as we said, we've been in this 12 years now. We've been talking and working with Bocas. We've moved from a prize that was once $3,000 was our original space. Now $85,000 in prizes means that we're developing something, we're growing on something, we're building, Marina's vision of what this place could be, where creativity, talent, employing literary devices, bringing our stage presence. It's just so exciting and interesting for us because it's youth development and it's also building the cultural fabric, so really excited about the part.
One of the things that always stands out to me about the slam, from the prelims all the way down to the finals, is the topics that are chosen.
Yes.
Very interesting topics where I feel as though they're reflecting what's happening in society from their perspective.
So true.
Yes.
Does that have anything to do with the theme? Is that part of the reason why the theme Enter the Dragon's Mouth was chosen?
Well, we surrounded the theme around Bocas Lit Fest.
Right.
I know that, some people, if you don't know, Bocas
is it mouth
Bocas
in
mouth
Spanish?
in Spanish.
And Tuesday's World Language Day, so that's a whole other conversation. But yes, go ahead.
We tied all of that in to verbal expression, to the festival, to the Bocas Islands, and we just linked all of them together. And we also felt, like Enter the Dragon's Mouth is also a very cool theme as well. It lent a lot to encouraging the poets or inspiring the pieces from the poets. It also visually, allowed us to be able to play in many different directions with what it could look like. So patrons who are coming on the 28th, you know, you could expect a very fiery show.
Well, before we get to the 28th, I know that on the 20th and on the 27th, we're actually going to be airing the semifinals.
That's right.
Here on TTT, so you can stay tuned for that. That's going to be happening, so you can get a taste of what came before and see who didn't make it into the finals and who made it into the finals, and see what they come with in the finals on the on the 28th.
Yes.
Yeah? All right, so tickets for the finals. Where do we get them? How much do they cost?
Tickets cost $200. You can purchase them on Island e-tickets. You can purchase them at Paper-Based Bookshop. That's at the Writers Center on Alcazar Street in Sinclair, or at any Extra Foods location.
And we are going to do a social media competition and give away some tickets on First Citizens' social media site.
From when?
So starting next week from Monday, you have a chance to win your own tickets to attend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Past judges aren't eligible.
Sorry.
I find you say that with a kind of tone, like, you know. Mariel, what impact do you guys hope that the slam has on not just the poets that are competing, but on the community in general?
Well, just as you were saying, and we were saying earlier, we have new voices, new talent, young, very young, not even a teenagers yet, you know, coming up, being encouraged to create pieces, to share their work, to feel safe, like Jillian was saying, to share, you know, what they feel inside and what they see in society. They also are inspiring, you know. I realized that because we've had so many newbies in the competition this year specifically, that the poets are feeling inspired to create pieces to express themselves, and it's really a very heartwarming thing for the art form of spoken word, you know. We're seeing this grow and grow and grow every single year.
I love that you use the word inspiring, because in my head it was threatened.
Well, it's friendly fire, you know. The poets are all very good friends.
Okay.
Most of them, you know,
Okay.
they know each other. And it's really funny, you know, to experience, you know, the backstage.
Yeah, no, and that's something important for me. Well, for me, because I know that oftentimes in Trinidad and Tobago, when we talk competition, we hear about this fierceness that takes place backstage. In Islam, is it? You mentioned that they're all friends. Is it still friendly backstage? Do they all support each other? Do the older poets give the younger poets advice?
Yes. That actually happens. So, you know, I mean, it's just friendly, you know, there's banter, there's, you know, the little jabs here and there, but you see them, you know, pushing each other. You see them, you know, they take their little corners, they practice, they come back, they make a joke, they, you know, they sit and they have lunch together, you know, and encourage one
really
another.
a community, isn't
It is a community. So, I mean, when you see all of that going on, you know, I guess on social media, as you see, you know, raps and this and that and the other. It's really friendly.
Yeah.
It's all good in the spirits of the championship.
And that's great to hear. Jillian, tell me, I know that Islam isn't the only thing that First Citizens is taking a part in when it comes to community events and things like that. Tell us about some of the other initiatives.
Sure. So, yes, you're right. We do a lot of work under our CSR brand of First Citizens Community, actually, which is the brand for our CSR work. And under that community brand, there are 5 pillars. We do work under gender, sport, the environment, youth development and education, and culture. And so the Islam falls under youth development pillar. And of course, a lot of that, whether we do university bursaries or Girls First Festival, and the list is long.
Of course.
But really, I don't want to move the spotlight off of the Bocas Lit Fest and the First Citizens National Poetry Slam, because the Bocas team really does amazing work. The creativity, the innovation, and even that vision of what the slam can be and continues to be. I think this partnership really requires the spotlight, and I look forward to what happens on Sunday, next week Sunday, in the finals, because it's always, you know, really, it makes us feel comfortable and happy that we've made this investment for 12 years now, and we're going to continue to make this investment going forward.
You know, I always wonder when corporate entities like First Citizens sponsor things like the Grand Slam, and you hear some of the topics that are being discussed. Some of it isn't really corporate friendly. Some of it isn't always nice to the corporate world.
Right.
What is the conversation like in the boardroom after that?
Well, you know, the thing is, and the beauty of the slam is that we allow people to have a place to have their voice, right? Amplify, share your voice, your perspective, contribute to the national conversation in whatever form, because it's that safe space, as we said. So we don't opine on that. What we are really happy to know is that people are talking about what matters to them, what the future could look like, and that's the whole point of supporting, youth development and education, because we're giving people the opportunity to contribute to the landscape. Yeah.
Fantastic. Mariel was kind of the semi-finals by chance? Any of the semi-finals?
Was he? No, he wasn't.
That's I just checking to see now, because I often wonder, in competition, do you go and look to see what the competitors doing beforehand, what I need to write, what I need to be aware of?
Some people do, some people don't, but poets, usually are focused on what they are going to do anyway. Sometimes, part of their piece might be changed or triggered, because of another piece or something like that. But I mean, Kyle, like you said, has the opportunity to see the semifinals on TTT on the 20th and the 27th. So he will see what he's up against and what we're working with.
But by then, it might be too late to change the poem. But that's a whole other conversation.
But you never know. They're so talented.
Mariel, every year we try to push the bar a little bit further and further with the Boca Fest and with the Grand Slam. Tell me what we have in store for the future.
Well, what we have in store for the future is breeding almost, or encouraging poets, younger poets. We really want to get into, like the primary schools and the secondary schools, encourage workshops. And we were really very inspired by Marcus Wiley, the 10-year-old young man, semi-finalist. So we really want to create more talented poets, encourage them to develop their craft, encourage them to stick to it, because sometimes, if you are in the creative industry, it's very easy to get sidetracked. It's very easy for people, to tell you, why don't you think of this? Why are you doing that?
Why don't you get a real job?
Why don't you get a I didn't really want to say that, right?
I mean, say it with your whole
Why
chest.
don't you get a real job? So we really want to encourage young people to understand that there are avenues in the creative industry. The spoken word art form can, breed several opportunities across the board, for young people. So that is what we hope for, some of the things we hope for in the future of the championship.
Fantastic. Before we go one more time, remind them where it is, how they get some tickets.
Well, the First Citizens National Poetry Slam is the closing event of the NGC Boca Lit Fest that starts on April 25th and ends on April 28th. You can get tickets at Queen's Hall. Actually, yes, you can get tickets at the Queen's Hall box office, Extra Foods locations, at Paper-Based Bookshop at the Writers Center, and online via Island e-tickets. Tickets are only $200.
Mariel, Gillian, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning.
Us.
And of course, we look forward to the First Citizens National Poetry Grand Slam Finals. Enter the Dragon's Mouth. It's taking place next week, Sunday. But don't worry, you can see the semifinals this Saturday. That's tomorrow. And next week, Saturday. We'll be showing them right here on TTT as we get ready for the finals next Sunday. We take a quick break and come back with more in our morning show. Stay tuned. Thank you, lady.